Okay, Minister Aurescu, maybe we can start with basically the priorities of your mandate as the head of MFA.
Well, it is very difficult to sum up all priorities at once. But it is important to note that the foreign policy of Romania is, well, maybe defined by consistency, and we will continue in our mandate, and I will continue in my mandate together with my colleagues from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to follow the main priorities of our foreign policy, as they were defined also by now. Basically, the foreign policy of Romania is defined by our membership in the European Union and the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. Also, a very important pillar of our foreign policy is the strategic partnership with the United States of America. And it is important to note that this year we will celebrate 135 years of diplomatic relations between Romania and the United States. Also a very important component of our foreign policy is the relationship with the Republic of Moldova. We have a strategic partnership for European integration with the Republic of Moldova, and it is important to underline the fact that this is based on our common history, common culture, common language, and we hope to see the Republic of Moldova joining the European Union as soon as possible. But at the same time, it is also important to note, and this is also defining, of course, our efforts also these days, the fact that we are the external border of both the European Union and NATO, and our neighborhood is a quite complicated one, especially I'm referring here to the eastern neighborhood and the events that are taking place in Ukraine. Ukraine is a very important neighbor of Romania. And we have also there an important Romanian community of almost 500,000 people. So whatever happens in Ukraine is of relevance for our security and for the security of the region as a whole. Of course, there are also many other priorities of the foreign policy, but I would say that these 3 or 4 important directions are guiding our daily efforts.
Okay, and what could be some of the biggest diplomatic challenges of 2015 for Romania?
Well, starting with the security situation in the neighborhood of Romania, and especially the situation in Ukraine, I think that this is a challenge that well started last year in 2014 with the occupation of Crimea by the Russian Federation, and here we note that this happened. While breaching the fundamental principles of international law. So our effort will focus also on securing the existing security architecture in Europe based on the respect of the fundamental principles of international law. The efforts of all important international players, including European Union and NATO, are now well directed towards finding a solution, a diplomatic solution to the crisis in Ukraine. Even these days, we have noted an increase of hostilities and of violence in the eastern part of Ukraine, and that is why the Foreign Affairs Council yesterday, for instance, tackled the situation in Ukraine in an extraordinary session. So we discussed about how to stimulate the diplomatic effort, but also at the same time to see how we can use the tool represented by the sanctions regime in order to find a better solution to the crisis.
And how about the relationship with the Russian Federation in the same context, basically in the context of Romania and Euro-Atlantic partners?
The Russian Federation is an important player in the region, and we cannot, of course, ignore that. And we tried in the previous years, before the Ukrainian crisis, to build up a good relation with Russia. In 2013, there were well signals of improvement in our bilateral relations. The visit of the Minister of Foreign Affairs to Moscow, the visit of the head of the Secretariat of the National Security Council of Russia to Bucharest, a very productive session of the Joint Economic Commission between Romania and Russia, with encouraging signals to the economic area. But unfortunately, the crisis in Ukraine changed the perspectives. And along with the other partners within European Union and NATO, Romania cannot ignore the fact that Russia started this crisis and violated the important norms and principles of international law. So it depends on Russia's behavior to come back to the normality of the international relations in general. And within this context, of course, we can think of restarting again the engines in the bilateral relations with Russia.
Okay. And you mentioned a close relationship between Romania and Moldova. What are the steps and role that Romania is taking in helping Moldova entering EU?
Well, this is one of the most important priorities that we have on our agenda. And in the previous years, especially in 2014, due to our efforts together with the efforts of the other EU member states, we have witnessed a very good performance of the Republic of Moldova in the direction of coming closer to the European Union. The liberalization of the visa regime with the European Union. Basically, the Moldovan citizens are now the first of the Eastern Partnership countries to travel without visas in the European Union territory since the 28th of April last year. The signature of the association agreement and of the Deep and Comprehensive Free Trade Agreement. This is another very important achievement of Republic of Moldova. And Romania supported with all our efforts, diplomatic efforts, but also bilateral contributions, this effort of the Moldovan authorities. What is important now is to focus on the implementation of the association agreement. It is important for the authorities in Moldova to concentrate on how to better use this tool, which is the association agreement and the DCFTA, in order to foster the reform of the institutions of the state and of the society in general. Because the reform process following the European standards, I think it's the best option for the citizens of the Republic of Moldova. We have a diplomatic tool at our hand, which is called the Action Group for the Group of Friends for the European Action of the Republic of Moldova. It is a body which was an informal body, which was established following the initiative of Romania and France. It had a lot of meetings in the margins of various foreign affairs councils, bringing together the ministers of foreign affairs of the EU member states and the minister of foreign affairs, sometimes the prime minister of the Republic of Moldova. And this is a very good instrument to stimulate the efforts of Chișinău towards European Union integration, but also to show the support, concrete support from the member states for Moldova in that direction. So we plan in the near future, in spring, to convene another meeting of the group of friends in the margins of a Foreign Affairs Council in Brussels, perhaps, in order to see how the new government in Chișinău will continue this effort. Now, in the Republic of Moldova, after the elections that were held on the 30th of November last year, I think the main effort is to create a new government as soon as possible, and we are looking forward to see the government formed and restarting this reform process and the implementation of the association agreement.
And talking about the Romania USA partnership, you said how now it will be 135 years of celebration. But how do you see it in future, and how would you describe the dynamics of bilateral relations between Romania and USA?
It is a very dynamic relationship and a very, I would say, rewarding relationship for both partners. This strategic partnership, which was created back in 1997, but well, reshaped in 2011 by the Joint Declaration for the Strategic Partnership for the 21st Century, has a lot of dimensions. Of course, the political military dimension is perhaps the most developed one. We have a very good military cooperation with the United States. And this is reflected by many initiatives that we have developed jointly. To give you one example, which is telling for the depth of this relationship, is the missile defense project. As you know, we have concluded in 2011 an agreement between Romania and the United States for the deployment in Romania of the United States missile defense system. And this missile defense system is going to be hosted by the Romanian base in Deveselu, in the Olt County in Romania. And it will become operational this year, at the end of 2015. And after this, the missile defense system is going to be integrated within the NATO missile defense system. This is a very concrete bilateral contribution of Romania and the United States to the security of the NATO allies. We also cooperate as far as the operation in Afghanistan. As you know, Romania was one of the main contributors to the ISAF operation, which ended at the end of last year. But we will continue our presence in Afghanistan with up to 650 troops in the Resolute Support mission. I think that this is well placing Romania in the top contributors to the Resolute Support mission. But we also facilitate the transit of American, but also other allied troops to and from Afghanistan. The Mihail Kogalnicianu air base in Constanța County is used as a hub for transit of troops and equipment to and from Afghanistan. It replaced the role of the Manas base in Kyrgyzstan. So these are just some of the areas where we cooperate in the military field. But we have to mention also the cooperation between Romania and the United States in this area, also in the context of the regional security situation. The NATO summit in Wales in September last year decided certain reassurance measures, but also some adaptation measures. In the, perhaps the most important document of the summit, called the Readiness Action Plan. The United States considered very important to have a presence, a consistent presence of US troops in Romania for the reassurance measures. We witnessed last year a very consistent naval presence of the United States in the Black Sea. And we will continue this joint cooperation in the Black Sea. Perhaps you have noticed that during the summit in Wales, President Obama announced the initiative of a naval partnership between United States, Romania, and Bulgarian Navy in the Black Sea. So we are looking forward to continue this cooperation. But also, as far as the adaptation measures, we work together very well within NATO in order to implement the Readiness Action Plan. I have mentioned that there are also other dimensions of the strategic partnership. The economic one, the consular matters, because we are working together with the United States in order to access the visa waiver program. So there are many other areas. Energy security is also very important in our bilateral relations.
What would you like to say about that energy sector cooperation?
Well, Romania, as you know, is perhaps the less dependent country in the region from sources coming from other countries. And for us, it is a priority at national level. I'm pretty sure that you have discussed that with other ministers that you have met. It is also an opportunity for us to become a source of energy for the region. There are good prospects in the continental shelf of the Black Sea, the Romanian continental shelf of the Black Sea, for hydrocarbon reserves. So in, well, let's say 5 years' time, we will be perhaps able to start the exploitation of those sources.
And Romania will be able as well to have energy independence, right? That is as well one of the
most important goals of the European Union as a whole, and of the countries in this region particularly. Inside the European Union, we will work together with the other member states for the establishment of the energy union. This is another important goal. So I'm looking forward to see how to shape this project.
And now going to a somehow hot topic for Romania, Schengen accession. Now nobody understands why Romania is not in Schengen yet. It fulfilled the technical criteria, but it somehow lacks the support of the member states. So what do you think? What do those member states want from Romania? What else needs to be done in order for Romania to enter Schengen?
Well, it is also very important for us because, as you know, Romania has fulfilled all legal and technical requirements of the Schengen acquis. From the Schengen acquis point of view, Romania is ready to become a member state already for some years. And in practical terms, Romania is, well, behaving and acting as a de facto Schengen state. There are indeed some very few member states who are still thinking about the decision on the accession to the Schengen area. So we work together with those member states on diplomatic channels, and we hope that the conditions will be met in order for Romania and Bulgaria to join the Schengen area. So the explanations are not within the technical realm. The explanations are perhaps political, or there are perhaps some explanations within the well, internal politics of certain member states. But we are very open to work together with our partners in order to find the best solution to this problem.
Well, now that you have the opportunity to communicate via European Times to European Union public and those member states, what message do you want to say about Romania's potential, economic potential, that it can contribute as a partner for member countries?
Well, first of all, Romania is a very stable country in the region, and our economy is doing well. Last year we have had good economic growth. Perspectives for, well, at the end of 2014 are for a 2.6 economic growth for Romania, and the prospects for this year are also around 2.6, 2.8 economic growth. It is a large market with about 19 million inhabitants, with well-educated people willing to contribute to the economic growth, not only of Romania but also of the EU as a whole. We have very good experts in IT and many other areas. Our position is also quite relevant from the economic point of view. We are at the crossroads of transport corridors, three important transport corridors. The corridor number 4, connecting Eastern and Western Europe, corridor number 9, connecting the Northern and the Southern Europe, and corridor number 7, which is the Danube. And the Danube, as you know, is the cheapest way to transport goods from Romania to Western Europe, and from Western Europe to Romania. But we also have the potential of connecting Europe with Caucasus and Central Asia. This is the best place to transit goods from Western Europe, Central Europe, via the Danube, through the Constanța harbor, which is the largest harbor in the Black Sea, towards Georgia and other countries in the southern Caucasus, and from that point to Central Asia, and from Central Asia to here. This is, I think, a very very important asset that we are available to use together with our partners. The unemployment rate is quite low, 6.4 in December 2014. There are a lot of arguments in favor of doing business here. But the most important thing is that Romanians are very tolerant, and well, we have open doors and open arms for everybody who is willing to come here and do business with us.
That's a very warm message, and following that positive thoughts, what would be then your personal message to make this interview whole to our readers, to our business readers and political personalities across the globe?
Well, I'm looking forward to see the impression they will have after the presentation of Romania that you will do. I'm pretty sure that this will be a very professional, and it will help us attract more investments to Romania, because once again we are a trustworthy partner and a very stable country. You may rely on Romania.
Thank you, Minister Aurescu.